myself Vinod, and I'm going to talk about smoke testing in software development. Okay, also in order to explain the term, let me present a scenario before you. Now suppose developers fix some issues, or we can say developers implement some functionality. After that, they create a build with all these changes, and after that, they deploy this build to the QA environment for testing. Now, before the QA team starts detailed testing on this new build, they first do a high-level testing. They just try to know whether this newly deployed build is stable or not. The test which is performed to know this, to know the stability of this new build, is known as smoke test. So what is smoke test? Smoke testing is end-to-end testing of a new software build to determine its stability by checking its major functionality, and smoke testing is used as a criteria for accepting a new build for detailed testing, and that's why smoke testing is also known as build verification test. So here we check the stability. Now question arises, what do you mean by stability? Here stability means we just check the high level functionality of the major features of the product. For example, suppose if a registered user is not able to log in into a website, then it's a failure of smoke, and this build must be rejected for fixing the issue before a detailed testing could be performed. Similarly, suppose some pages are not loading or database connectivity is missing, then some of the pages won't show data. So such type of measures are discovered, or we can say our main focus is on discovering the blockers on a new build. If any of such kind of blocker is found on the product, then this build is rejected, and then once the build is rejected, the developers first fix these issues which has arisen into the build, and then they redeploy the build to the QA. Now again, the QA team performs a smoke test on the build. If the smoke tests are passed this time, then they perform detailed testing, otherwise the build is rejected once again. Now, what is this detailed testing? In detailed testing, we check the newly implemented features, and we do regression. Right? Regression means checking the already existing functionality to be sure that the newly implemented features has not impacted the old features. So that was the smoke testing. Now, second question arises, how the term. Now the second question arises, how the term smoke testing came into existence. The term smoke testing came into existence from the plumbing industry, and then later it was used in electronic hardware testing. Actually, in a plumbing system, smoke is passed through a system of through a fitting of pipes, and if there are any holes, if there are any breaks in the pipes, then smoke comes out. Similarly, in electronic hardware testing, we insert a new component into a device, and if smoke come out as we plug it, if smoke comes out, that means the newly added device has failed to work. So this is how the term came into existence, and deriving the same analogy from these terms, it is used in software to determine the major code breaks in the newly deployed build. Okay, so that was all about smoke testing. There is one more term which is related to smoke testing, and it is sanity testing. So what is the difference between sanity testing and smoke testing? Actually, smoke testing is related with the regression, and sanity testing is related with the functionality testing of newly added features. In case of sanity, we just try to check if the newly implemented features are implemented correctly or not. And in case of smoke testing, we check whether the major functionality is working or not. So both these testing are used as a criteria for accepting the build, but their scopes are different. One is related with the regression testing, and other is related with the testing of newly added features. So next is what is the scope of smoke testing? We can define the smoke scope with respect to when, where, and how that smoke testing is done. First is when. When smoke testing is done, smoke testing is done immediately after the deployment of a new build. So it is a preliminary testing which is performed on a new build. Second is where. The smoke testing is done in generally a smoke testing is done in the QA environment by the QA team. Although there are some scenarios where it can be done by the developers, but mainly it is done by the QA team. Third is how smoke testing is done. Smoke testing, as I explained earlier, here we check the major functionality of the application without going into details of different modules. So that's all with respect to the scope. Next is what's the importance of smoke testing in software development. In software development, smoke testing has a vital importance because it has so many important points. First is it saves time. Now how it saves time? Suppose, look, in software development we have a very good statement that the earlier we locate a bug and fix it, lesser is the cost of fixing that work. So in case of smoke testing, we find the major blockers, major issues in the very beginning of the this test cycle. So it just takes a lesser time to find the major blockers. So in this way it saves time. Similarly, it saves effort because the earlier we will find it, the lesser amount of time it would be taking, and obviously the cost will be lower. It would save cost. Next is integration risk. So, since smoke testing is end-to-end testing of the application, so it reveals blockers related to the integration test. So it helps to find the integration risks also. Similarly, it helps improvement the quality, and it helps the project managers to assess for progress assessment also. So next is what are the techniques? What are the techniques of doing smoke testing? We can do smoke testing in three ways. One is by manually, second is through automation, and third one is hybrid approach. Which is the combination of the first and second. So question arises, where to use a manual approach is where to use automation approach. Actually, it depends upon the product. If the product is stable, if the product is almost stable, or the product is just a customization of a base product, in that case we can use automation testing. Because if the product, suppose if product is unstable, in that case we have to update our scripts. We have to make changes into our automation scripts each time the bill is deployed, and that's going to take more maintenance effort. So when the product is unstable, in that case manual approach is preferred, and where the product is a little bit stabler and it's just a customization of some base product, in that case we use automation approach. And there are some situations here we can just combine these two things. So next is the process of smoke testing. What is the process of smoke testing? This is very simple. Suppose we have to do smoke testing for some application. Then first we try to identify the smoke test cases. As I already said, smoke testing is a part of regression testing. So, and smoke tests are only a subset of total test cases. So first we have to analyze all the test cases and to analyze the application and to identify the main flows, because in smoke testing we check all the flows end to end. So here we identify all different flows which need our testing, and then we create our smoke. As far as creation is concerned, we either write them for manual testing, or we can automate them through some automation tool. And then once your smoke is ready, then the next step is very obvious. Obviously we have to run the smoke and to analyze the results. And after the next step is updation or maintenance. Whenever there is any change in the product which affects our test cases, or any new feature is implemented, then we have to make changes into our scripts. That falls under maintenance. So the process of smoke testing is identify the smoke test cases, create smoke test cases, run and analyze the results, and then maintenance update. Okay, so that was all for smoke testing. I have written a research paper on smoke testing. You can see the details on the website. Thanks.